Evaluation is the key to building robust AI applications that can create some real world values. An AI application without evaluation is just like a ship without a compass that does not know where to go. So hey everyone, welcome to this video, and today I'm going to show you how to build an evaluation and observability pipeline for your AI applications step by step. In order to do so, we'll be using CometML's Opik, which is 100% open source, as you can see here, and in my experience is one of the easiest and most Pythonic way to evaluate and monitor your AI applications. It will be a hands-on coding session where we'll start by understanding the basics of Opik, how you can set it up, then we'll build a RAG application, evaluate it, and then track and monitor everything that happens in between in a dashboard that looks something like this. Make sure that you watch this video till the end. I bet you'll enjoy it and gain tons of value from it. So without any further ado, let's jump into coding. So now I'm in my cursor ID, and here's what we're gonna cover today. We'll start by setting up the environment and configuring Opik. Next, we are going to trace a simple Python function so that you understand like how Opik works. After that, we are going to track a simple LLM call so you can use the same for the AI applications that you're building. Then we are going to build a RAG application using LlamaIndex, and finally we'll evaluate and monitor this application in our Opik dashboard. So let's get started. So we'll start by creating an account on comet.com, and since Opik is completely open source, you can also self-host it on your own infrastructure. So the installation guide is provided here. You can just click on the link and follow the instructions. But in this case, I'll be using a hosted version of Opik on their platform, but the fundamentals are going to remain same. Then I provided a few libraries that you need to install here. It's commented because already installed in my environment, but you can do the same. After that, you only need two things. One is your OpenAI API key and your Comet's API key. Since we are using a hosted version of Opik on Comet's platform, so you'll need an API key here. So I'm using OpenAI just for the sake of simplicity, but it's not necessary that you have to go with the OpenAI LLMs in here. You can easily integrate it with any LLM provider, including Ollama, which runs locally. So that's fairly easy to do. Then we're going to do some necessary imports and configure Opik. Alright, so let's start by tracking a simple Python function. So Opik provides a track decorator. So any Python function that you're going to decorate with track is going to be traced and logged inside the dashboard. So in here, it's a simple Python function. So I just wanted to give you a quick demo of how things work. So I just ran it and I'll go to the dashboard. So a default project is created for me, and yeah, so we can see like this function is being tracked here, and whatever happens inside that function. So in here you see the input that was provided and the output that we got. So the idea here is to make you understand that you can put anything inside this function. That can be a RAG application, which we are going to see very soon, or it can be a multi-agent orchestration that we're trying to build. So it's that simple to track everything that happens in that application. You just need to wrap it in a function and decorate it with the track decorator. With that, we are going to see the next thing, which is tracking LLM calls with Opik. So in here, I'm using OpenAI, and instead of like doing a simple LLM call, I'm making a multimodal call wherein I'm providing URL to an image, and which you can see here, and I'm trying to ask the model to describe it. The idea is to see how it is being traced in the dashboard. Right, so now I'm able to also track a multimodal LLM call. So you can see the image that we got from the URL, and these are the inputs that we provided, and this is the description or the output that is given by the multimodal LLM. Now, I don't want you to feel that it only works with the OpenAI. You can easily integrate any other LLM providers like Ollama for doing local LLMs, or any of the popular LLM providers. So I have created a quick demo of how you can use Ollama. So you can again use the same track OpenAI integration, and you just need to provide the base URL where your Ollama is running. So typically it is at 11434. It also requires an API key. So it's just required but ignored. So you can put anything in here. So let's try to run it and see what happens. this shell finished working. Again, I'll go to Opik, right? So we are able to track the LLM call as well. So now that we understand how Opik works, it's time to leverage its true power. So what we're going to do is we are going to create an evaluation data set, and then we'll create an experiment. So inside an experiment, what we'll do is we take one by one all the dataset items, run it through our AI application or the LLM application that we have built, and then compare the output of our application against the expected output. Based on certain evaluation metrics, it is going to provide us the feedback score. So everything that happens inside this box here is called an experiment. And this experiment is what we are going to trace or track and monitor inside the dashboard. So I'll show you step by step and we'll build everything that needs to be done here. So first of all, we need some documents over which we can do RAG. So we are going to download this Polgram essay, which is here. And once you run this code, it will do it for you as well. So the idea is to, keep everything simple and focus on what's important, which is evaluation and observability. Once we have this document ready, what we are going to do next is to configure LlamaIndex with Opik. So in order to do so, what you need is you need to set up an Opik callback handler that will automatically log all the LlamaIndex operations inside Opik. So you can do it using this line of code. And next, what you need to do is to integrate this handler into LlamaIndex setting. So what it basically means is once you run this cell, now everything that you do with LlamaIndex, which is like building a RAG application, so it is going to track everything from chunking, ingestion, and generation. So all those logs are going to be logged in our dashboard. So, and all of this this can be done with this integration that is provided by Opik for LlamaIndex. And I think we are ready to use it now. So once we have LlamaIndex integrated with Opik, it's time to create a simple RAG pipeline using it. So again, we are going to use the simple directory reader from LlamaIndex to load all the documents and then create an index out of it. And finally, once we have the index ready, we'll create a query engine over it. Now I'll do a sample query of what did the author do growing up. And so we have a response. Let's see again if it is being tracked or not. So we are tracking the query as well. Now this is where the true beauty lies. It is able to track the query that we did, the response that we generated, and it also provides us like what happens during retrieval, like what all nodes were retrieved. And you can also see what happened during the synthesis phase, like the final output that was generated by our system. And it gives you everything from the template or the system prompt that is being used by our pipeline to provide answers to this query based on the provided context, which is in here. And there's a separate logging for the LLM call that is being made. Now that we have our RAG pipeline ready, it's time to create a data set on which we can evaluate it. So in order to do this, I have created a sample data set that has a question, an answer, and the context that is being used to arrive at this answer. So these are the ground truths that we are going to use to evaluate our AI application. I have also provided code in case you want to automatically generate this data set from these essays, right? So the code is in here and I'll share it in the GitHub repo that I'm going to share with you. So the next thing that we need to do is to load this data set into our dashboard. So in order to do this, we need to first create a dataset client. And once we do that, it says that Opik has created a test dataset at this location. So we'll go to this location very soon. Next thing that we're going to do is to insert all the dataset that we currently have in our data frame. So you just need to create a dict that contains an input, which is the question, an expected output, which is the ground truth answer, and the context that is being used to, answer this particular question. So all of this is going to be inserted into the dataset in our dashboard using this client that we just created. So let's check how things look. All right, so we have the dataset loaded here. So we can see like all the question, their expected input, their expected answer, and the context that is being used here. You can also easily add a new dataset item using the same format. So which would be the input, the expected output, and any additional field that you want to add here. So the idea is to, so once you have your application up and running in production, and then you encounter a really interesting example that you want to be part of your evaluation set, so you can easily come here and add those individual examples. So this is fairly easy, and I really like this functionality. All right, so now we have everything ready to do an end-to-end evaluation. So it's time to put all the things together and see how it works. So we have already created a data set, right? And now we just need to create an evaluation task. And inside that, we are going to put the LLM application, which is our RAG application. We'll take all the expected output from the data set that we have created. And based on certain evaluation metric, we are going to get a feedback on how our application is working. So the first thing that we need to do is to create an LLM application. So again, we are going to use the same RAG pipeline. And then I'm going to use the track decorator that is provided by Opik to wrap up and decorate this my LLM application function. And inside this, I have my RAG application. So it takes a user query, which is the input string, and provides a string output, which is the output of my RAG application. So you can think of it as the red box in here, which is our LLM application. Next, we are going to again use the OpenAI integration and to track all the LLM calls. After this, we need to create an evaluation task, which basically specifies, okay, this is the output that you get for a particular input. And in here, you need to put in your LLM application. So if we go back to the diagram again, this evaluation task corresponds to this blue box. And inside this, we have our LLM application that we just created, right? After this, we again create a dataset client, which we have already done. So doing it again here. The next part is to define all the evaluation metrics based on which we are going to do the evaluation. So again, going back to the diagram. So we have expected outputs from our dataset. We have already created an evaluation task, and inside that we have put our LLM application, which is being decorated by the track decorator. And in here, we just specify some evaluation metrics, and based on the expected output and the output that is given by our application, we are going to get a feedback score. These are all the evaluation metrics that we are going to use. So let's briefly understand what each of them does. So the first one is hallucination metric, which basically tells us or evaluates whether the LLM's output contains hallucinations based on given input and the context. Next is the answer relevance. So this metric tells us or evaluates the relevance of the answer to a given input using the LLM. After this, we have context precision, which measures and evaluates the context precision of an input-output pair, again using an LLM as a judge. Finally, we are measuring context recall. So this metric evaluates the context recall of an input-output pair, again using an LLM. So these four metrics are going to give us a comprehensive view of how our application is performing. So once this is done, it's time to run the evaluation, and we are going to put in everything that we have created so far: the dataset, the evaluation task, the scoring metrics, all the four metrics that we just discussed in here, and the experiment configuration, wherein we provide the model that is going to be used by our evaluation system that acts as a judge and see like how things are working. So let's run it. So we have the evaluation results. So these are the scores that we, or I would say the average scores that we got for each of the four metrics on the 5 examples on which we evaluated it. And we can also view the results in the Opik dashboard. Right, so you can see we have this experiment here. Again, these are the average scores, and then we can see it for the individual examples. So we have this input, expected output, and context pair. So if I click on the first one, it gives us like what was the input, the expected output, the context, and the output that is produced by our system. If you want to go in more details of it, we can again go back to the project, and we see here we have in the experiment we had 5 evaluation tasks. So if I check the trace of the very first task, it gives me a detailed view of what's happening. So again, these are the inputs of the data set that we had in this first item, and this is the output that is produced by our LLM pipeline. So in here you can also check the time taken by each of the evaluation metrics, right? And if you want to go into more details, let's say you want to check like what happened in the hallucination metric for my first example. So it provides again like what was the input, output, and the context. And this is the output that is produced by this metric. It also gives you a reason why it is able to, why it is giving you a particular score. So everything is being tracked here. So like in this case, if we got the score for answer relevance as 0.95, it provides a reason why it did so. It is able to like dissect your entire RAG application or your entire AI application that you are tracking in this dashboard. And it becomes much easier for you to now debug it and understand what's happening and where you can make further improvements to make your pipeline even better. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and I'll be sharing all this code in a GitHub repository, and the link to which has been shared below. And I recommend that you go and check out Opik and use it for your next AI experimentation. Alright, so that's all for today. Make sure that you follow me for more such videos, and I'll see you in another one. Thanks for watching.